Hey y'all, welcome back to DIY Gringo, and today we're going to be going over things from Harbor Freight that you didn't know you needed. We'll start it off with something simple. This is something I actually bought I think a couple years ago, and I have another funnel that I use most of the time, but I picked this one up because it was one of the weekend sales and they had it for like 99 cents or something. It's a 4-piece funnel set and it sat on the shelf most of the time, but when I had to seal my gas tank using some sealer, I wanted to make sure that the funnel I used was brand new and was not dirty or contaminated with oil or anything else. So luckily this one was sitting on the shelf. I used the biggest one and it was nice and clean, so I had that on the shelf ready to go. I'm really glad that I got it. I didn't have to go out and buy a new one or worry about possibly not cleaning an old one well enough and having some sort of contaminant get in that sealer, because that's one thing you definitely don't want to happen. Moving on, we have our mechanic's stethoscope, and it is very similar to what a doctor would use, except it has a little metal tip on the end. And to use this, you just put it on just like you would see a doctor do, and then place it on any object that you think may be making noise. For example, in automotive repair, if you hear a weird ticking noise coming from your motor and you want to figure out what it is, you would want to use something like this, because it's kind of hard to pinpoint that stuff sometimes with all the other noise when a car's running. So this is definitely handy to have. You never know when you're going to need it, but whenever you do, you'll have it. Safety is something really important, and you always want to make sure that you have a proper respirator whenever you're painting or working with any sort of chemicals. And the regular masks, like the regular N95 masks that you see, do not work with aerosolized products. And so that's where you would want to make sure you have something like this. It's just a typical painter's mask, but for the price, really, you can't put a price on your health, so it's definitely worth picking one of these up. But they cost right around 20 bucks at Harbor Freight, and they work absolutely excellent for what you need it to do. Next, this is something you may buy because you only need one or two, but even if you don't have it, it's great to pick up an extra set of brass couplers and connectors for air compressors and stuff like that, air hoses, air tools. You never know when you're picking up a new tool, and if you find out that it's not coming with a connector on it, you already have one ready to go. So these are definitely worth having. Authentic Pittsburgh made Harbor Freight tools bottle opener, and I will say I like this one much better than the competition. I'm not going to show the name, but I'm pretty sure you know who makes it. I prefer the Harbor Freight one, and it costs about half the price. I think the number one thing that any homeowner or auto owner who's doing their own repairs should own is a Storehouse 1001 piece kit. This guy comes with a variety of different assortments of nuts, bolts, screws, you name it. They even have cotter pins. And this is totally worth having because you never know when you're going to be doing a repair and you lose or damage a screw of some sort, or a bolt, washer, something, or you might just need one for some project you're doing. And really you can't beat it with all the different pieces that you get for just $17 from Harbor Freight. This is totally worth something picking up just to have it home. Even if you don't use it today, if you don't use it tomorrow, you might need it in a week or a month or a year later, and you'll have it ready to go. And you'll save yourself a trip to the hardware store, and you'll be glad that you had it. So the reason that I would say the Storehouse 1001 nut and bolt assortment kit is excellent to have is because in my other video you may have watched, if you haven't, be sure to check it out here, on how to remove a seized or stripped screw. We removed the screw down in there, and in the process we totally just sliced a slot right in the head of the screw, and so that guy definitely won't be able to be reused. And the awesome thing about this kit we can go ahead and remove one of these other screws. And all of these screws are pretty much in the same condition. Some were just slightly easier to access and get to remove. So they're all going to get replaced. And I was already contemplating my trip to the hardware store to go get replacement screws, but the Storehouse has the right screw, which is an M4. And in this case, we have both a 10mm and a 16mm. So the 10mm is a little bit closer, 16mm is just a hair longer. I'm gonna go with 16mm anywhere I can. As well as a flat and lock washer. So we'll go lock washer, flat washer, go ahead and install it on this one so you guys can see it a little bit easier. Alrighty, and so you can see right here, that's what it looks like with the washer and the lock washer. You know what, I think I'll go ahead and leave it. I'm gonna knock these other ones out real quick and I'll show you guys what it looks like once I'm done. And there we have it. See all those shiny new screws? No trips to the hardware store necessary. Had it all right here on the workbench. That is totally awesome. It even comes with M3 screws, which are the same ones used on this Ninja 250 petcock front face. But after I lined this tank, I lost one of the bolts that would be used for this petcock. So I would have to make a trip to the hardware store to get replacement bolts, but luckily I bought the Harbor Freight 1001 nut and bolt assortment kit, and it uses M6 bolts. These are 16mm long. I'm going to see if they're long enough. They probably should be. I don't remember the other ones being much longer. One more reason why this nut and bolt assortment kit is totally worth the money, because getting these two bolts probably would have cost about $2. Getting the screws for the carburetor probably would have cost $5 or $6, not counting the time it takes to go to the store to buy them, the gas, etc., etc. This will save you a bunch of time, bunch of money. Totally should pick one up. So I know I keep talking about how amazing the Storehouse 1001 nut and bolt assortment kit is, but it won't fix everything. It won't fix my low self-esteem, but it'll give me a place to hang my bottle opener. Well, I hope this video has been helpful. I thought it'd be a fun video to make. Maybe it'll save you some time, some money. I just recommend picking these things up if you're at Harbor Freight and you got a few extra bucks. They can really save you time and money in the future. You know, anytime I go into Harbor Freight, I always find myself spending more money than I planned on. But luckily for me, I think it ultimately ends up saving me some money. So if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button. I don't really have a schedule. I put these videos out whenever I get the chance. That's why it's important to be on the notification list so that you'll know as soon as I upload something. I got a lot of cool videos planned, and it'd be really cool if you checked them out. Thanks for watching. It'll give me a place to hang my bottle opener.